Okay, good morning guys, happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath.
Welcome to Come and Reason Australia's live stream here from Coral Bay in northwest of Western Australia. That first shot you saw was what we're looking at. So we're looking right in front of us is the beach and beautiful turquoise coloured water, and we're really happy to be out here. Hope you guys can hear us okay. We're on the fly, so
And it's a little breezy.
it is a bit breezy, and
Yeah. So let us know if you can't hear us too well, but we've got ourselves a microphone and some good old natural light. So
yeah. So hopefully that's working for everyone.
yes, and happy Sabbath.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for all of those that put in their questions or topics to address. There's some really good content there. Some of it we're thinking we'll definitely need to be discussing with the rest of the guys, or with the other guys who, of course, are not with us. And by the way, thank you to Tony and Nat for last week. Regardless of the technical difficulties they faced, we really appreciate you guys keeping the show running.
Definitely.
And yeah, so I know Nat's there somewhere. Hi Nat. And Tony, I don't know if you're logged in yet, but hope all is going well with you. And Greg, not sure if you're on as well, but we should all be back to normal next week, all being well.
But we just wanted to take you with us and not miss another opportunity to share some of everything that we're trying to get across.
Yeah, I really wish maybe we should flip the camera back and we should show you just what we're looking at again. Like, just absolute beautiful scenery here. Water is just so crystal clear, beautiful stuff.
And it's super quiet too.
Yeah, we might be having people walking past and maybe even joining us a little bit later, because there's lots of people up there camping. So, okay, so let's go ahead and get into today's discussion. Well, I'm moving the camera around, sorry.
Okay.
Jump and moved it. So let's begin with right. Let's just sort that out.
Okay, because that was okay.
Okay, let's just begin with a word of prayer.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it? Do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, we're so blessed to be out here in your creation. We're thankful for opportunity to be able to connect and communicate with all of our friends all around the world, and especially the opportunity to talk about you, to focus on you, to learn more about you, to behold you, and then of course by beholding become more like you. Please guide our thoughts today. Please guide our words. We ask a blessing on all of those that are watching, and we also ask a blessing on those that aren't watching, maybe in the other churches at the moment. So we pray for your presence and your spirit to guide us. Please watch over all of our friends and family wherever they may be, and guide us today. We pray in your name. Amen. Okay, can everyone hear us okay? Someone want to send us a little message to say, make sure. Otherwise, the wind's picking up a little bit. So if we go flying, it's not us; it's just the phone. Yeah.
Let's try and weigh it down a little
Okay.
bit.
Can you hear us okay then?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's handy. Thanks, Kyra, for loaning us your microphone too. Okay, so Maani's thoughts for today were that we'd talk about our confidence in God, and we thought we'd see where this takes us. Do you want to maybe break it down for us a little bit?
Yeah. Having confidence in God for me came a lot later in life, especially when things had not been working out so well. And even you were one of the first people who said it to me, other than another friend of mine. And they just said, like, there's nothing you can do about this. What you can do is hand it over to God. And it made me think, like, that is exactly what I need to do, because God's going to be looking out for my best interests. He's not making these bad things happen. He's guiding me through, like, and you know, just watching over me, and watching over all of us. So having the confidence to say, hey, you know what, I'm letting go of that steering wheel. You can drive. Like, that's really huge, and it's also very hard for a lot of people to do. I've found, you know, a lot of people can wash it aside and say, hey, you know, yeah, I love God, but they might not seem very confident in Him, or what he's doing for all of us, and we do know that God is working consistently in our lives, for us to be better and to have not hardened hearts, and to have stronger ways through these troubled times, and also to lighten things even when things are good. So it's very easy to be confident in God when things are good and easy, but a lot of the time it can feel hard when it's not. And you had some really good text about that too.
A lot of you guys probably heard this quote before. Now I'm going to have to find it again. Okay. Into the experience of all there comes times of keen disappointment and utter discouragement, days when sorrow is the portion, and it is hard to believe that God is still the kind benefactor of His earth-born children. Days when troubles harass the soul, till death seems preferable to life. It is then that many lose their hold on God and are brought into the slavery of doubt, the bondage of unbelief. Could we at such times discern with spiritual insight the meaning of God's providences, we should see angels seeking to save us from ourselves, striving to plant our feet upon a foundation more firm than the everlasting hills, and new faith, new life would spring into being. That's from Patriarchs and Prophets, chapter 12. I guess I'd say maybe we could perhaps start out saying, so just looking at some of the comments as well, what's another word for confidence in God? Another word for confidence in God. I actually prefer to use the term confidence in God, because with Christianity everything becomes very cliche, but it is trust.
Trust.
I think trust in God.
Yep.
Now everyone can turn around and say, yeah, we trust in God. But then let's break that down a little bit and say, when we say God, what are we actually saying? Do we say, link it to things like other verses that we read in the Bible, like God is love? So then do we trust love? And do we understand how love functions? You know, Tim has some great stuff about, he tells a story about somebody running up to you in the mall and say, hey, give us the keys to your car. And you know, would you be able to trust somebody like that? It's like, well, no. Why not? Because you don't know them. And trust, I think, is only a product of knowing God. So it's not just simply a matter of knowing in the existence of God, knowing or having a belief in the existence of a God, but understanding what is His methods and His motives, and understanding how He functions and what are the principles that He lives by.
And tying all that in with experience, as well as Scripture, as well as
science and nature.
Yeah.
So let's start out with science and nature,
because we are here.
Yeah, and it's beautiful out here. I wish you guys could all be with us too. Yeah, Ishan's just said, isn't confidence just in God just faith? Well, I tend to prefer to use the word trust or confidence, because faith can, has picked up a whole lot of other meanings. But let's go ahead and start, with the science or the nature aspect of the evidence that we've been given. Who trusts in gravity? Who has confidence in gravity? Who believes that tomorrow morning when they wake up, that gravity will be there and we won't just be floating off, like a hot air balloon? I mean, it's a really simple thing. But then we say, okay, so we trust in gravity. Then what about all the other design laws that God has created, that God has built the universe to operate upon. And of course, we've all heard, the design law of love. So you've got, we speak about just about every week, and anybody that's heard Tim has probably heard it 100 times. We're sitting right in front of a beautiful ocean, and of course, we imagine the sun is hitting down on the ocean and causing that to evaporate, and the moisture goes up into the sky, and then it forms clouds, comes over the land, and it rains. Not very much where we are, but
it's a cycle of giving. Yeah,
it's this circle. We can see that. We can experience that in nature, and we understand that it's a scientific principle.
And in life, a lot of people who have had love in their lives, some have been fortunate, and it's been a good experience, and others have had what they thought was love in their life, and it has turned out to be a negative or unhealthy experience. So then their trust in love isn't the same. So then, some of the time, people can have faith. They have faith that there's God, and they believe that is all there. But trusting is something that is harder to come by for a lot of people. And confidence in love. In their own relationships, in life.
In a really, really very simple thing. When it comes time to the last cookie in the cookie jar, and your son or your brother or your sister say, or your wife or your partner or whatever, they say, I want that one. Do you trust or have confidence in love to say, hey, I'm giving for the benefit of another? Obviously, it's a really lame example.
And I really want the cookie, but do I love them enough to give it to them?
Do I share it? Do I have enough confidence in love to understand that I need to be willing to sacrifice myself for somebody else's benefit? Maybe a cookie's bad because it's not always a good benefit, but then we also have other laws as well, like the law of liberty or the law of freedom. That was a hard one for me to come on to come into, especially. We've really got to flip the camera around because we can see beautiful pelican swimming right there. It looks far away in the camera, but it's actually really kind of close to us. Anyway, hi pelican. But we're really lucky with what we're looking at here. Another one's just flown in. So so say in relationships, to be able to allow freedom for your partner, and understanding how that principle works. Do we have confidence in that? Do we have confidence to say, when my partner makes me a meal and they say, is this a good meal? Do you like this meal? Does this taste good? And you've got to be truthful. Do you believe, or do you have confidence in being honest and truthful? And you say, it doesn't. I really appreciate the effort that you've put into making it. That's also honest and true.
But it's not the best. It's not the best we've had.
Yep. And then leaving your partner free to respond or react however she chooses.
And with love, the partner generally responds with gratitude.
Yeah, in a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Or perhaps the partner has had a bad day and they turn around and say, last time I'm going to make you anything. Do you get your back up and get all defensive and say, I told the truth, and all of a sudden you've got a conflict happening? Do we have enough confidence in that law of liberty to say, it's okay. You can respond how you want. I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to maintain who I am and my individuality, my core. I'm still going to, have confidence in. Do you want to do the other design law of laws of health?
Laws of health. That's my whole area. So where I have the most confidence is the design law of health. And definitely interested in what Nathaniel wrote there. Yeah. Without getting sidetracked, you got to tap that. There you go. Now slide up. So design laws for health. We have been designed in a certain way to function, physically, mentally, everything. Like what we put in for fuel it determines how we run. So we've all been there where we've had all the fuel that hasn't been healthy fuel. And so putting into ourselves, like physically and spiritually, and mentally, that is what determines what comes out. And confidence for me definitely started with the physical health, the seeing that blueprint and going, wow, like I'm studying this is what I'm learning about, and that is no accident. And having confidence that it's running a certain way because I'm putting the right fuel in, or because I said no to that extra Kit Kat, or or I'm getting enough hours sleep, I'm not drinking the alcohol, I'm like making those choices because I'm confident in the process,
in the design,
knowing that those things don't actually benefit me, work for me, or the function of the design, when I'm choosing then to improve that and go, wow, you know what, I'm really enjoying this, I'm getting closer to the way it was meant to be run.
Ideal.
Yeah, the ideal. And so learning in relation to like our design and the design on how we're built to function, for me, brought me also closer to God, because I could see that was physical evidence. It was evidence. The science is there. The experience is there. I had the experience of being very, very unhealthy, overweight, and in all kinds of damage, and that I could pull back from that and heal it. And I wasn't really healing it. I was just working back toward the design that was given to us. So that was healing. And that gave me more confidence, because the closer I bring myself back to that, the more confidence I have in that design and his love for us, because he wouldn't have designed us that way without loving us.
Yeah. Just let's have a quick look at what Nat said here. I was just listening to a fantastic song this morning by Casting Crowns, Let Me Dream for You, a song about letting God lead our life, and it will always be so much bigger than what we could have dreamed of.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, do we have confidence in God for the outcome of our lives?
Mm-hmm.
So often we're making decisions to try and produce an outcome. I don't know, like I need extra money, to buy something. Maybe it's even just to buy food or whatever. So I'm going to cheat on my taxes so I can get that little bit more, or anything along that type of a thought process, which is putting us in the role of trying to produce the outcome rather than leaving the outcome in God's hands, and we operate in harmony with God's principles. So I'm just going to quickly go ahead and interact with us, guys. Put some questions on there. Some of the interactions I had outside of this conversation. Here we go. Hi, Renelle. The greater our trust in someone, the greater the confidence in them. Yeah, we believe it's one and the same. But then, how do we get to trusting someone? How do we learn to trust somebody? How even going back to the nature or science examples? How do we gain confidence or trust in the laws of design? All of the laws of design. It's by experiencing them, learning about them, gaining knowledge, spending time with them,
working with them.
Yeah. So when it comes to back to the example of can you trust somebody? Yeah, thank you. You got to know them.
Yeah.
Hey Tony, how are you? Hi Mum. So how do you get to know somebody? A lot of time, a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Contact. A lot of
communication.
Spending a lot of time with people, I think, and learning about them and gaining a knowledge of them and what drives them, what's their principles, what do they live by, what's their code. this is how you get to know someone. This is how you get to have confidence in somebody.
And how are they revealed to you?
Yeah.
You know, what are they doing in your lives? How are they working in your life to reveal who they are in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I was raised in a Adventist family, and you know, you were always taught from a very, very young age. You know, you trust in God. Of course, of course, I trust in God. Didn't know who he was. Didn't know anything about him except he was this, you know, big guy up in the sky somewhere.
Who was looking after you?
Who was what?
Looking after you.
Yeah. And of course, as a child, from a child's perspective, you have this mindset that says, you know, I trust in God as far as like I trust in a vending machine. You know, hey, I prayed for this, God, and I didn't get it. How can I trust you? And I think trust is a lot deeper than that. It needs to go back to, well, what is it exactly we're trusting God with? What exactly are we having confidence in God for?
It's got to be that eternal picture, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like Tim mentioned in the latest lesson or the second latest lesson, he said he was talking about the when God fed the 5,000, the crowd of 5,000, and he took a few loaves of bread and some fish and he multiplied that and gave it all to the people so that they wouldn't go hungry. And he's like, well, why didn't God just take the coin that Peter got out of the fish's mouth and multiply that and make everyone millionaires? All of these people that follow him, he just makes them all millionaires.
Because that wouldn't help them, wouldn't benefit them. They would use it in ways that would suit themselves.
Yeah.
But not for the benefit.
So that opens up our perspective a little bit and say, well, what is it exactly that we're putting into God's hands? What exactly do we want to have confidence in God for? Mira's just put in a message there. As Tim says, after praying, have peace and confidence knowing that God is involved in your affairs. That's right. That's right.
And it does keep you connected to, I think, every time, like Simon was saying, not to go to God like a vending machine and say, hey God, I need this in my life. I want this and that and the other. But to just say, hey, God, I'm grateful. And having that reciprocal relationship where or you're making time to talk to God and say, hey, this is going on. What challenges I'm facing, and I'm really grateful for you right now. And even just asking for more strength to get through those moments is still building your relationship with God, because you're handing over that trust to him.
Yeah, it's like that that saying is, the person's praying for God to remove the burden from them instead of praying for God to give them strength to carry the burden. So again, I want to throw it out there again. What is it exactly that we're putting in God's hands? What are we having confidence in God for, or what are we trusting God for? Anybody want to add to that? Send us your thoughts. I think we kind of touched on it a little bit with feeding the 5,000 versus making everyone millionaires. How about God healing people from a particular sickness back in the day when Jesus was here? He healed somebody. He healed a lot of people. Are any of those people still alive today? That wasn't his main goal. I think that was, again, it was more of an object lesson, saying, hey, my desire, my wish, my goal is to heal you, and I will do that in the short term to try and point to the longer term.
In with evidence and to guide hearts.
Judy's just given us a comment there. Let me just see if I can expand that. Why is my fingers not working? Oh, here we go. That would mean that money is valuable to one's spiritual journey, which it is not. Witnessing the miracle of the loaves and fishes is
valuable.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just from Caleb. it's been found on average that 200 hours of continued interaction is required to move from acquaintance to friend. Interesting. Of course, depending on the nature of these interactions, it can vary wildly. Yeah, that's true. But the key term there is interaction.
Yeah.
You need to have that interaction with somebody.
Definitely. And that's why bringing it in every day, and any part. To as an example, for me, I have a job that is pretty. How do I say that? It needs me a lot. I have big responsibilities. It is demanding. I also love my work because, some part of it I get to help people directly. And so that's good. So while I'm there trying to be a blessing every day, some days are stressful and long, and I'm very tired. And then when I get in the car before I come home, I sit and take a second, and I try and focus on what my mind is doing, where my heart is, where my energy is, what state of mind I'm in. And I go, okay, now I'm done with that responsibility for the day. Now this is the design that I still want to give. I still want to give. If I'm feeling really lousy, how am I still going to give to my family when I get home? So I take a second, I reset, I say, hey God, it's me again. We talk every afternoon after shift and before I drive home. And I say, hey, today was a harder day. Just wanted to get this off my chest. Let's have some time together before I head home, so that then I can try and be this beautiful, glowing blessing when I get home to my family who I love.
This beautiful, glowing blessing.
So I do that, but that means I get to talk every day, and throughout the day and other times as well. But that then still boosts my confidence in my relationship with God and who God is in my life.
We've got a few comments there as well. And Renelle, I think, has used a key word there. Trust Him to heal us to be the caring humans He designed us to be. That's the key word, I think, there is healing. Do we trust God to heal us, to be back into His original design? Yeah. And Mira said, knowing that nothing is a problem to God, but trusting that whatever comes your way is in your best interest. I think we should unpack that.
Definitely.
Down the track, we want to...
we definitely want to look at that, because we do see that, like, when things are happening, it might not always seem like it is in our best interest. However, if we see that there is always, and once something is been and gone, you can always stand back and look at a bigger picture, a much bigger picture that God already sees, and go, wow, I can see where God was working for my benefit in this situation. But at the time was harder, so the confidence can be not there, like it's there, but it's hard. You're not focused on it because you're focused on whatever is happening.
Just that last part there, trusting that whatever comes your way is in your best interest. I think we've certainly spoken about, and people have requested the discussion topic about the age-old question: why do good things happen to bad people? Good God, ugly world. I think we're gonna have to take
and bad things to good people.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna take a whole nother class to discuss that one. So maybe we won't really touch on that, but yeah, no, let's not.
No, we don't have to unpack that, but we do. I guess in our own experience as well, we have had experience with that where what has kept us there has been our confidence. Our confidence.
Okay, for the mysteries of God can be plainly seen by what He has made, that all men are without excuse. Of course, Romans 1:8. I don't know why. Scripture is awesome, but God has put His very character into His creation. We can get to know Him just by being out in nature. Woohoo!
As we are, yes.
And noticing where things are going right. Oh, why does it do that? living in harmony, where things are going wrong, where man or the results of our actions have changed the harmony or balance of nature. Okay, so
exactly, and that's what I was speaking about. Whether it's in your physical health, when you become unhealthy, that is man. It is in your hands. It is in man's hands to care for ourselves. When nature is damaged, that is also in man's hands. So when just the fact that we get to be here and enjoy this beautiful place, it is because man has chosen to then go, you know what, we're protecting this area where, you know, it would be easy for them to continue pillaging.
Yeah.
That. So in the same way, the design is shown how perfect it can be if it is kept in harmony, and our physical selves are the same. Yeah. So that was a really good point.
Okay. Could it be maybe not in our own interest, but in the interest of someone else? Yeah, I think again that's still a can of worms. Because I've got, I'd have some challenges with things like rape, torture, all this some really evil stuff that happens in the world. And
to call that for the benefit of somebody.
Yeah. Or anybody. I think it's not. But
yeah.
But then we also need to start unpacking them. What is it that God's in control of, and is God actually bound in some cases? You know, we always. I was certainly raised at not. You know, what's that good old song? Anything is possible for God except fail. There's a song that we used to sing. But you know.
I feel like I missed out on so much in my youth growing up without all of that.
Yeah. But there are certainly some things that God is bound. God's bound by His design law of, it specifically says in the Bible, God does not lie, but cannot lie. And I think God also cannot, what's the word I'm looking for? Go against liberty. I don't think He can take away freedom. And I think that would be a discussion that we really need to unpack when it comes to talking about good and bad in the world.
Judy says,
but we can only ever
learn through adversity. I think we can still learn without adversity. Definitely, I think we learn those parts ourselves, and we can teach them.
Now she does have a good point though, because there is the law of exertion.
Yep.
And we
and
do
the
need.
more we use something,
the stronger it becomes.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And that said, which leads into what David Graham mentioned in the comments leading up to this live video, that God's ways can be seen everywhere, even a gulag prison.
Yep.
That sounds like something we'd like to. Let's go a story behind it. I also want to go back to what Nat was also saying, and even what Caleb had mentioned about, having 200 hours of, to be able to learn about somebody and
to forge friendships.
Yep, and that's in order to be able to trust in someone. What about then the times that it takes us to be able to trust any of the other design laws? Like how long do we need to spend in trusting in the way and the function of love? What about the way and the function of gravity? That's obviously one thing we all grow up with and we all have to learn.
How many times do we have to fall off the chair to know that we're going to hurt ourselves at the bottom?
Well, I was watching this. I was sitting in your store.
Hopefully
actually.
not 200.
No, yeah. But I was sitting in your store when I was putting that stuff together.
Yeah.
And just right out front of the store, there's this little, I don't know, must have been a 12-month-old or something like that, and she was learning to walk. And she was like, it was so fun watching a kid learn to walk. But, it doesn't come straight away. It takes a lot of practice and effort into learning how gravity actually functions. Or, I've got to put this foot here so I don't fall over.
That's it. But if it's too far this side, I'm going to toddle sideways.
Yeah. And so there's...
Teaching the brain through that adversity.
Yeah. And I think that if we studied and watched how much effort kids put into learning how to walk, then I think we would understand about learning how we learn in other ways. What's that saying? Took someone a while to trust gravity when he was learning to walk. Some days it's still a challenge. No. But then let's go again another step further. What about trusting the laws of health?
Exactly.
How long does it take us to do that?
And in my profession, sometimes people don't learn. I try and help people. I meet them where they're at. I found out what they need help with, and then I work from there. For me, it's not about selling, spending.
Maybe you should
anything.
remind people what you.
Okay,
do.
so I'm in the health industry. I work with people in their health needs, supplements, vitamins, health foods, cooking, training, everything. So I help them with lifestyle. Having said that, I still get people who come in and say, okay, where's all your liver stuff? And I'm like, okay, tell me why you need it. And they say, because I'm drinking too much. And I'm like, maybe you could just not drink so much. And they're like, no, I just want the liver stuff. So then you do get people who, through evidence, are still seeing what they're doing to themselves, and they have no interest in helping themselves. They just want that here, I'm going to keep doing this, but you be the one to help me. Like, just give me what I need to so I can do it for longer.
Tell the stories about people always wanting the magic pill. And I don't want to change my diet. I don't want to change my lifestyle.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Everything hurts. I'm not going to eat well. I'm really not going to exercise. Do you have a pill that can help me lose all this weight? Do you have a pill that will help me grow my hair back? Will you have a pill? I need more energy. And I said, okay, let's start with your nutrition. Tell me what a normal day looks like. So I'm working with evidence and on what they're doing, so I can help them best. Sometimes I just have to turn around and say, you know what, the best thing I can do for you right now is give you knowledge, and not sell you anything, because it's not good for my character to do that. Or I just say, you know what, this person cannot hear anything that I need to say, so I'm going to let them be free to do what they need to do.
Spend their money and
right. and buy more
stuff that isn't going to actually help them. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
So it is a little bit of a shame, but also it is the evidence, and it's the confidence that I see. I mean, I've pulled out my own photos no end of times. I have some photos that I'm not real proud of, that are of me being my most unhealthy, and a lot of the time I meet people who need the evidence. They need, like you'll find in a lot of people in religion, like they need evidence. They're not going to believe in God if there's not evidence. So when someone, and I've just finished training and I'm looking fit, I'm feeling good, and someone will come in and they'll say, oh, it's easy for you. You're fit and healthy. And I say, hey, let me show you my before pictures. It's all about the design. It's all about working with in harmony with the design. And so when I can put that health message across about God's design, that's a happy day for me, because I'm interacting with people. I'm building those friendships, and I'm getting that trust where they can see by the evidence, plus they can look at the design for themselves, and then they can access that information on many platforms.
Yeah, that does kind of raise an interesting point, and maybe touches a little bit on Brad's last point there. Is that when we've gone against the design, when we've broken those design laws or not operating in harmony with them, everything is a lot more difficult, a lot harder, and there also seems to be this a little bit of a distortion in that when we, say for example, we eat unhealthy, and then all of a sudden we tend to find a lot of people with this, that have gone down that path of being unhealthy, like eating too much and not exercising, that it's so much harder for them to get back into harmony because of the distortions that come. Oh, but there's nothing wrong if I eat that. There's nothing wrong if I don't exercise. And Brad's comment was about, is there a reason the Bible seems so difficult to so many Christian churches? And why didn't God just make it simple and say, my law is designed where it's legal? I think God was dealing with people that were already out of harmony, and he's trying to lead them back, and
had to meet them where they were at the time.
Yeah, and part of that process is overcoming a lot of distortions, and of course there's also an enemy that was constantly harassing. But when it comes to the Bible, it was
in the health industry, there's lots of enemies. Yeah. There's lots.
A lot of people saying this is good for you, snake oil,
or supersize me.
Yes, yeah. So there's always an enemy working against it, but didn't God make it simple? Okay, so you remember once there's, I'm just trying to think about, okay, say you've got a beautiful ceramic pot or whatever, and you drop it and it smashes to pieces. You're in harmony, you're part of the design, this is how it was supposed to work, and then all of a sudden it's in pieces. It takes a lot of time and effort to put all those pieces back together. That's a bit bad. We just saw our power is getting a bit low on our phone, so we might have to close it up a little bit shorter than we want to.
Yeah. Depends on what they're eating. For many, it's just a symptom of the outward manifestation of trauma or brokenness.
That's true.
That is true as well.
Yeah.
But through my experience, there is not a lot that I haven't seen, and Tim's much the same, that cannot be healed.
That's right.
With working in harmony.
It is a manifestation of trauma and brokenness, but then what
becomes choice.
Yeah, and then what is the manifestation of healing from brokenness? It is still getting back into harmony with design laws.
Yeah.
So a while back I had somebody send me a long message about how he was actually asking why is it that we have a lot of healing model people that are behaving so badly compared to a lot of legally minded people. That was really sad to hear. But he was obviously in an area where he deals with a lot of, or has seen a lot of healing model people.
Yep.
In contrast to legal model people, and I know when I first came along to the healing model, I was certainly passionate, and I was trying with all that energy and passion and everything, and not necessarily having the articulation. I might have stepped on some toes and said things that or not saying anything wrong, but just maybe the manner of which that I presented it that kind of turned people off. So there's a lot of different reasons why, but I think
that's a good point, Ishan.
I would let's see what he said. Design law. If you have a car and you put orange juice in it as fuel, it's not going to work so well. God did the same with us. He designed us and basically told us how to live. If we deviate from that, we're not going to work so well either. And it's going to take a bit of effort to fix our mistakes. Yep. And it's the mindset that's hard. Like when the Israelites came out of Egypt after 400 years of slavery, they had a certain mindset that was very, very hard to get through to. And that's where they worked through. God had to work them through the levels of moral development. And of course they're stepwise. You can't skip a step. You have to take them slowly.
And that's it. That's like with your relationship with God, with your relationship with design, with health, with everything. It's one day at a time. A little bit more time each day.
Yep.
A little bit more trust along the way.
Yeah. And it was during those times where God was dealing with some very dark-minded people that's when the Bible was written. A lot of it. Well, throughout that whole process of the Bible being written, God was still trying to move his people through those levels of moral development. So you have people that at a very reward and punishment level that is in the Bible that we turn around now and look back and say, oh, this is legal language, when we need to understand the whole picture, the whole scope of it. And I think, when it comes to reading the Bible, just addressing Brad's question again, we really need to put it into the context of the whole picture, and remembering that the Bible is meeting people where they're at, and lots of different people at lots of different levels. And our goal obviously is to be level 7, back into God's ideal for humanity and understanding his purpose for our life.
And to help as many people find their own harmony that way too. with all of that, get back in as much harmony with God's design for their lives, their hearts, and their. I think the body still matters.
Yeah, absolutely. That's part of God's design.
Mm-hmm.
We're part of God's design.
You know, I mean, I know that if I'm not in the best shape I can be, then it's going to take a lot longer for my mind or my heart to heal in the way that it needs to as well.
Yeah. So I think if we maybe should start wrapping up a little bit.
Yeah. And I think a battery will go soon.
Yeah. I would say I would encourage us to not have that reputation that this other gentleman was talking about. If we do understand God's design laws, then we should be working. Obviously, it's not going to happen overnight, but we should be working to come back into harmony with all of God's design laws, including design laws of health, certainly,
and
design law of freedom.
Love and freedom. Yeah.
Yeah. We're out at the beach, Ishan. We don't have a battery charger here. We do have one back at the caravan. We should have bought.
Hey, Kyra, you could race this one down.
Just quickly finishing up with some other comments here. If there's anything at the heart of Scripture, it is growing up in maturity, where you're learning how to discern. Come on, press. See more. Where you're learning how to discern things for yourself. Yes, the last fruit of the Spirit is self-control. So if the Bible was written by people at level 7, for level 7, there'd be no evidence of the steps. Yes, good point. 35,000 different churches. Common Reason is battling a confusing theology within SDA. I understand, I love... You got that?
I understand, I love design
law. But I was addressing, there's a lot of confusion. There is, but there's a lot of different people, a lot of different levels. So I would be saying...
my battery was at like nearly 100% when we first started. But I think because the signal is not great out here, we're 600 kilometers away from any major city.
Yeah.
So it just chewed it up quite a lot. So I apologize that it's not as long today. We may even, make another video or something a little bit later.
Yeah,
but yeah, we're going to get out and enjoy the rest of this incredible design.
Yep, and come back into harmony with it.
Yeah.
In all of those design laws.
Yeah.
So I think I would encourage us all, all of us that understand and love the healing model, to get back into harmony with all of God's design laws, including health, including liberty. We should be the beacons. God is waiting for a people to really reveal Him as clearly as possible, and we should be, working towards having the best relationship we can. The healthiest bodies that we can. We should the healthiest spiritual relationships with God. The healthiest understanding of His design and His purpose. So I would be encouraging us. Let's work towards that, and most especially having our confidence in God for our eternal well-being.
That's
and healing, what Renelle said, healing us or restoring us back into harmony with that design.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thanks for joining us,
Thank
guys.
you so much.
I hope we're gonna flip the camera around again and just show you again what we've been looking at this whole time, and just absolutely beautiful weather. A little bit windy, but just
it's beautiful. It's going to be gorgeous. We're going to be snorkeling with the fishes.
Yeah.
And so if you guys get an opportunity to get out in nature yourself today, which is also one of the greatest books he ever wrote.
Yep.
Make sure you do. Take some time, spend some time out in nature with God, and enjoy. Oh, yous are going to the snow. I still haven't seen snow. Enjoy. Have a fantastic time. Stay safe, guys, and much love.
Yep.
Much love to you all.
Yep. Thanks for joining us all, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Until we see you next week.
Yes.
Love you all.
Bye.
Happy Sabbath.